Hello there and welcome. It is Ruth here at artfulstampin.co.uk, and so I'm going to be showing you how to make some cards using this stamped sheet that I made just last night. So I'll link in the description below the video for this one. Right, I fancied doing something that was going to show off some of this design, and I've just quickly made a template of a quick kind of like fun fold. So basically it's the length of half a piece of cardstock, and then I've scored it in particular places to make this little kind of fun thing that would stand up hopefully on a desk. So the measurements for this are, I've tried to do it so that if you are using letter sized or A4 it will work for you. So first of all, you need to just cut your piece of cardstock in half. It doesn't really matter what if you're using A4 or letter size. And then you're going to score at 5.5 inches or 14 centimeters. Oh, and I just cut it by accident. Oops. I really should get rid of my blade down there instead of... Right, let's start again. Right, score at 5.5 or 14 centimeters. Then score at 6.5 or 16.5 centimeters. Just got to bring this one on just so I can double check the measurements. That's it. And then score at 9.5 or 24 centimeters. Then 10.5. So that would be then, I'll have to figure that one out in a second, what that would be in centimetres. With just 2.5. That would be 26.5. And then cut it off at 28 for those of you who are using A4, and if you're using letter sized, it would already be cut to that amount, 11 inches. And all you're going to do is then fold your pieces up, and then the idea is that that's going to stick on there. Now I end up with a small piece left over, but if you're using letter size you won't do that. And then what I did was scored every 7/8 or about 2 centimeters ish, just to create this little kind of square. When you fold it all up together, it creates this. Oh, there we go. That, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to use that. I'm thinking I'd like a little pop-up element there to put my sentiments. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so the other fancy fold I was thinking of doing was one where you have different elements folding in and out. So if we cut the cardstock in half, so that we cut it at 14.5, so that's about 5 3/4 inches. And then for us in the UK, we would then score this at 7 centimeters. I hope I'm getting this right. No, it won't be 7 centimeters. Hold on, bear with. Sorry, we'd be scoring at 5 centimeters, then 15, and then cutting at 20. So for you guys in the States, that would be, you'd be scoring at 2 inches, then 6 inches, and then cutting at 8 inches to end up with a kind of basically a gatefold. Okay, and so what I want to do with this one is cut my patterned paper so I have a panel going through the middle, and then a couple of panels up and down. So this is where you just have to kind of look at your stamped sheet and kind of think about trying to get the best out of it. So what I wanted to do to start off with that pop-up one, or the fun fold, is I'm going to cut away 10 centimeters here because my cardstock was 10.5 centimeters wide. I'll just pop that there for a sec. Is I want to have this panel with the butterflies on that central piece, and then have this section sitting at the back. So what I firstly need to do is calculate what measurement this is. So basically it's 14 minus, what's that, 7.5. So that is 14 minus 7.5, 6.5 centimetres. So if I cut this off at 6.5, now I'm not going to create a border. I'm going to actually, this is a bit unusual for me. I usually put borders around things, but I'm going to try and keep it all very flush to the space that I have to create a bit more of a kind of seamless effect. So, oh, she says, although I didn't allow for the seam allowance, the side bit. And what? Let me cut this down to 10 centimetres, and then I will have it all flush. Sorry, I'm talking sewing terms here. Seam allowances. What do we call it in card making when we have a card allowance? I suppose it is a card allowance, not a seam allowance. But there we go. Right, so then I need to cut this at 7.5. Now I'm just going to double check. Yep, 7.5. And if anyone's watching this and think Ruth's just making this up as she goes along, yeah, I am. Basically. There we go. Now, if I'd had foresight into, while I was stamping, that this was the card I was going to be making, I possibly would have stamped my butterflies a little bit lower down on my paper so that I wouldn't have this space. But I actually like the idea of being able to look at the card straight on and seeing the design carry on. So what I'm going to do is use this piece, because I've got a little bit of design left there, to cover that panel there. So let me just double check. So that was, oh yes, 1 inch. Sorry, I forgot I was doing inches. I'll make sure I cut the right one. Hold on. Right, keep those out of the way. Let's cut 1 inch off here so that can stick onto that panel section. And I can always use this for something else. Maybe decorate the back, actually. So let's start sticking this all down. So I think the first piece I'm going to stick is this one here. She says if the glue works. Oh, there we go. Here it comes. So yeah, you're watching this on sorry, I've uploaded this video today. Sorry it's not alive. I'm out of town tonight, so I thought I'd go ahead and do this one ahead of time, because I'm not going to be able to do a live tonight. Right, so we want this panel here. I think when you've spent so much time designing such a pretty piece of paper, you have to be careful to choose a design that's really going to show it off. So, right, pop this here. Right, and as I said, I'm going right flush up to the edge, which is something that I don't always do. And I'm quite liking it this time. Oh, and that's not quite flush on the back. Okay, let's do that again, Ruth. Okay, so now this is the bit that is the trickiest, but it really isn't that tricky. What you need to do is fold your card at that seam there, and then we're going to fold that under and then stick from there. So all you need to do is pop a little bit of glue there, fold that under and flatten, and give that a really good push. Make sure that glue's really attached well. Oops. Come on glue, behave yourself. Okay, I'll get my bone folder in there for a good push down, and then hopefully when that folds up like that as well, that should all work. you want to give it an extra bit of a burnish, you can do. There we go, because that's the way it's going to be folded when it goes into the card. Sorry, envelope. That's the way it's going to be folded. Right, that's lovely, and it stands up. Yay! That's good. Right, now where's my little piece of scrap? So like I said, this is just, how much does this measure? This is about 3/4 of an inch wide, or about 2 centimeters, and I scored it every 3/4 of an inch, and the idea was to create some kind of pop-up that would sit there. So I have got the stamp set here, and I wondered if one of these would fit into the oval punch, so I'm just going to grab that. And let's have a see. Thank you would definitely fit. And I'm wondering if I could stamp it in a section there. So let's see if I can cut out a little piece. It's got a little bit of the flower on there. That's quite nice. And then where's my bit that I cut into? Oh, here it is. This is a bit of card that I meant to score but cut earlier, so I'll use that. That can go on there. Let's get the stamp mounted up. This is Starry Sky. So incidentally, the cardstock that I'm cutting into and making the bases out of today is Starry Sky, because I felt it, I did use it for the stamping the butterfly, so I felt it would go really nicely, and it does. It kind of shows it off really well. So let's stick this together. Put that on there. If you want to add extra embellishments, you can do. I just want to kind of show you the basic construction of this. Okay, so let's stick this together. So giving that a really good push. So we've got our cube, like so. And the idea was to just have that stuck right at the bottom there, and then have that pop out like so. Actually, it doesn't have to be stuck at the bottom, it could just be stuck in the middle, can't it? Okay, let's pop a bit glue there. So I want this to cover that square that's on the bottom. Make sure I've got it centered and middled, so it's in the middle. And then I've got to kind of figure where I want this here. Yeah, somewhere about there, basically, somewhere in the middle, so that when that folds upwards, it doesn't protrude too much from the top, so that it fits into the envelope. And then can I eyeball that and stick that down. There we go. Simple way to kind of really highlight a sentiment. Pop it on a cube. There we go. So when this goes in the envelope, this is just all going to get squished down like that. And then when it gets opened, it'll come open. Ooh, sorry, it's still drying. There's me. I'm trying to manipulate it when it's still drying and it's not having it. Oh, now if you have this where you get a bit of glue where you're not meant to, or if you get a bit of this powder stuff on your hand, you can pop some inside. Right, let's try that again, Ruth. There we go. Right, so hello to everybody who's watching on the live, or if you're watching this on the replay, hello as well. Sorry, live premiere. I'm not live. I'm talking to you from back in time. Right, let's move on to the fancy gatefold. Not gatefold. Yeah, it is a gatefold. Yeah, it's going to be a fancy gatefold. Okay, so let's look at the pattern again and see what I want to highlight. So again, I want to kind of have that butterfly kind of showing really beautifully there. And I'm going to be cutting actually additional panels to stick on the front of here. So I know what, let's do that first so that I know what measurements I'm working to. So this measures 10 by 14.5. So that central piece needs to measure, I'm just going to cut this off for ease so that I can see what I'm doing. So that central panel needs to be 9.5. And then I think what I want to do is just have a thinner section at the top, because I want to be able to fit a lot of this big butterfly in. So let's see how much space that takes up. About 7 centimeters. So if I cut 7, so that will be my middle section rather. And then how much have I got left for? If I give it a little bit of a gap, what's that? 3. Let's go for 3. 7, 3 and 3. That's easy, isn't it? So in inches, that's roughly just over about 1 1/8. But yeah, you may just want to do it an inch. Okay, so those are my pieces that I'm going to be sticking on there and there. So now I need to cut into this. Now, because this measures 9.5, I can get away with cutting just 9 centimeters off my patterned paper. Sorry, butterfly, I'm cutting you in half. And then, what did I say? This was 7, so I want to cut this sort of at an optimum point where I get a lot of butterfly in the 6.5 centimeter section there. So I'm going to cut that there. Turn it around. Cut that at 6.5. So that's my middle. And then cut that at 3. No. What did I say? That is 3, so that's 2.5. Oh, you moved. No, don't move. 2.5. There we go. So that'll be to my top section. Keep that for a rainy day. And also 2.5 off that bottom section, so that the picture continues basically. Right, let's pop that all together. There's my glue there. Right, so this one's just going to go onto this one here. Yeah, this Starry Sky dark blue is beautiful against that really bright stamping. Really just shows it off well. If you don't have Starry Sky yet, Night of Navy would be adequate. Starry's just a little bit brighter than Night of Navy. Super pretty. Right, let's see. There we go. Oh, I moved that by accident. Let's see if I can rescue it. No, I think it's stuck. Okay, so now because I've got a bit of a border going around here, I want to place these to see how much space I need. Okay, so I would suggest it's easier to stick the top and the bottom ones first and then stick the middle one. So check I've got the right one. Yep. So that one's going to go in the middle, sorry, at the top there. And hold it down while it does its thing. It glues. And this one is going to go on the bottom. There's no right or wrong way in terms of order of where you put the glue. You know, sometimes I put the glue on the base, sometimes I put it on the piece. There's no, you know, it's just whatever you pick up and do at the time, really. Oh no, what am I doing? I've done that wrong. Oh, dude. I think I'm going to change my plan. I meant to stick that on that side and then have that one to go like that. But anyway, there we go. It's happened. So what I'm going to do is change my plan and put that on the inside. So you get a lovely surprise when you open it instead. And what could we do for the middle? Let's put a nice, I guess you could put a nice sentiment across there. I don't know. Or I don't know, a panel. Oh, I'm gonna have to think now. Oh no, that's thrown me. I still like the idea of it opening up though. I wonder if that would fit there and there. Those leftover pieces. Yes, okay, let's do that. That's really thrown me. Oh dear. Never mind. Okay, so let's measure the distance between there and there. So that's 8 centimetres. So let's go for 7.5. So do 7.5 there. What does this measure? 7.5 by, ooh, just under 4. Let's cut that down to, sorry, not over 4, sorry. Let's cut that down to 4 so it's exact. So I know where to cut the other one. Right, so, oh well, sometimes these things happen. You have to kind of, I mean, I could fix it, but it would mean probably cutting another piece of cardstock because to try and get that off is just going to be a nightmare. So, oh well, go with it. I've created a new fun fold, everybody. Let's just put these either side. So that one of these was left over from the previous one that I made. But there we go. Get these stuck on. So I'm sticking this in the middle-ish. It's like a gateway to the butterflies. Oh dear, I've got a bit of something stuck on my fingers. Right. Let's get that stuck down. Right, there we go. Oh dear. So I'm not going to do it now, but I would suggest that for your area that you want to write on, if you're wanting to put something white in there to write on, then just pop those into the panels either side, and then you've got an area then to write your message. So there we go. Bit of fun. That came from a bit of a mistake. There we go. Right, so that's those two. Right, so we've got this one left. Right, I need to have a little think about this. Okay, so I've decided to make an easel card, and I haven't done one of these for a little while, so I've just had to sort of look up some pictures. So I think probably the easiest way to do it is just cut your cardstock in half, and as you normally would do to make a standard card. And again, if I go with standardizing the measurements, if I cut that off at 28 centimeters just to make life a bit easier, so that would be 11 inches, score at 14, or 5.5 inches, and then score at the halfway mark of that, which would be 7 centimeters, or sorry, 21, or 8.25 inches. Okay, so that's your kind of mechanism, as it were. So that's how it's going to work. And then I've got, would you believe, I've got all these little spare bits of things that I've been playing with, and so on. So I want to cut my easel section to be just a little bit smaller than what I've just done. So I'm going to cut that at 13.5 centimeters, or about 5.25 inches, and then cut this to 10. So that's going to be my section that sits onto there. And then I want a panel that's going to sit in this piece here. So again, I'm just going to make use of little pieces that I was using earlier. Cut that to, or should we say, yeah, say 7. Did I cut a section off a bit? No, I didn't. Right, okay, so that's now 10. So this is 10 by 7. So this is going to sit in this section here, and I'm going to raise it so that it catches, so that when you want to actually pop your easel card together, that will catch and sit nicely. Actually, I'm looking at that thinking it's a bit wide. I'm going to take that down to 6. We'll go with 6 centimeters. There we go. Right, now in terms of cutting up our design, so this is what this video is kind of about really, is kind of forward thinking and thinking how much I need. So I need a piece to go on that section there and a piece for there. So let's make the most of these butterflies. Cut that there. And then here you see, because I need to cut off a section to fit this on here, because that's got quite a nice bit of the whole butterfly, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice the wing on here, because I don't, you know, it would be nice to have fuller butterflies. So 9.5. And that's not to say that this piece is going to be wasted, it's just not going to be used at this point here. So 9.5 by 13. Go there, and then that bottom section, I need it to be 5.5 by 9.5. Just remind myself, yep. Measure twice, cut once, or measure twice and then cut with no fear that you've got it wrong. Okay, so this is going to be stuck on here. Yeah, after making that last fancy fold, I thought, oh, it felt like there was lots of starry sky on starry sky, and I wanted a bit of a contrast. And so that's why I've pulled out this Parakeet Party, because I thought, oh, that sort of brightens it a little bit. Okay, so that's that. Now, I'm very tempted to go and raid my stash of bits and pieces to see if I have a nice butterfly, a cutout butterfly that I could perhaps stick in this section here. So that's going to go there. Now I'm going to use dimensionals to stick that. Now when it comes to these easel cards, it's really important to burnish well, because you want the folds on the card to be quite flexible, because the danger is that it opens up and then it kind of pings out of place. So that's good, because look, you see how that's resting on there. Sometimes I make these and they're kind of sitting up here because I haven't properly burnished. So it's good to kind of burnish things well so that the card will do what you want it to do. Right, so let's stick this on here. So that will go there. Now I want more of the a border going around the middle, so it's just sitting flush then with the top, but that doesn't matter because when it's open it's not going to make any difference at all. See, so this border here was more important to me. Oh no, that way around, isn't it? I was looking at that then going, oh, sure that's not right. Well, that doesn't look right either. Oh, I've cut a different section off, that's why. I was looking at that going, oh, what's going on there? So I don't know if you've realised what I did was I cut the wrong section off that side. I was meant to have cut this section, not that one, but never mind. I don't think it's going to make a huge amount of difference. It'll be fine. Right, find some dimensionals. Oh, got some end bits that need using up. Let's use these. So, got some other end bits. Come on, there we go. Stick that there. See, even though I said, oh, I want to put a butterfly on here, I'm looking at this and going, it's so detailed, this paper, that it doesn't feel like it actually needs anything else. I'll have a look at it in a minute when it's all stuck together, but, you know, sometimes the patterning is enough. Right, so place that again with that little bit of a border. There we go. So that's just enough dimension to get that to catch. I just love the idea of that kind of flowing, the pattern flowing through from top to bottom there. Really like that. Right, I think I'm going to leave it there because, yeah, although I did say it would be perhaps nice to pop something there, I quite like it as it is and still having the butterfly as the focal point there. So there we go. So using the Stamp One Sheet Wonder from last night, I've made 3 fancy fold cards. This one just folds down really easily, like so. So that does that, and that pops up. And then this one, and a gatefold, sort of fancy gatefold really. So it's a basic gatefold with bits stuck on the end. And if you've just joined, you'll see that I made a mistake earlier, and that this is how this wasn't the original design, but it's worked out okay. And then here we've got an easel card. So there we go, 3 ideas for how to use your Stamp One Sheet Wonders. Thank you for joining me. Hope you found these ideas helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Take care for now. Bye.